Beep, 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 beep. Welcome back once again to the Court of the Edijester. How are we doing, good folks? Don't forget to subscribe and do the usual so that you can find out when I'm talking my garbage. I've got something today for you from the marvellous Róisín Michaux. And this is from her website, peaked.substack.com. Links, as usual, will be in the doobers. This is an absolute barnstormer of an article, so let's give you a brief introduction and take a look at the beginning of it. And then you can go and have a look for yourself. Come be a warrior teacher, buy me a coffee. Anything you can do to keep me going would be great. Other than that, let's get cracking, shall we? So here we are, the ground zero of trans propaganda on the blog Peaked. You can see a great picture there to begin with. Let's start with that. You can see there, look, wonderful, by Gesso Carnero. Very, very affecting photo there. Basta de homophobia con GLBT, which is really a scream against the treatment of women by this vile ideology. It's a marvellous photograph. Someone who knows how much I like deranged internet nonsense recently gifted me a book about online extremist communities, says Róisín. It has everything a girl could want. Low IQ doomers, ironically, perhaps, I can't say it, ironically, FAP cells and apocalyptic preppers dreaming of violently murdering Bill Gates. Pew, 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 she says here. Perfect for a relaxing read in the bath. The book is called Going Mainstream, Why Extreme Ideas Are Spreading and What We Can Do About It. First published in 2023, it was re-released in hardback in 2024 with the updated tagline, How Extremists Are Taking Over. And then Róisín informs us that it was written by Julie Ebner, an ultra-educated Lisa Simpson type, this is so good, who was advised, consulted at, and carried out research on behalf of major institutions and NGOs on the topic of extremism. Her clients include the World Bank, the United Nations, and NATO, as well as organisations like the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, Oxford University's Extremism Lab, and Quillam, which Grok says was the world's first anti-extremism NGO. I wasn't at all surprised, she says, to find that among the Pizzagators and Elliot Roger Stans, Ebner's book includes a chapter dedicated to me and my friends, the transphobes. Just glorious. The clue is in the oxymoronic title of the book itself. What kind of idea can be mainstream while at the same time being extreme? How can extremists take over society while still maintaining their extreme status? But knowledge of human sexual dimorphism fits that paradox perfectly. Cracking. It is universally known that male and female are real categories, that we are different, and that sometimes that distinction is important, but for reasons that will hopefully become the subject of extensive study in the future. In order to be accepted in polite society these days, you must pretend to think that this is an absurd and a hateful proposition. The extreme beliefs of my fellow travellers in Going Mainstream include a man convinced the Queen of England was a mind-reading reptilian, classic, as well as people who think celebrities maintaining tunnels of kidnapped child sex slaves under Washington, D.C. Alongside these individuals exists anyone who thought it was unfair to let a chunky transvestite called Laurel Hubbard compete for the women's medals in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Ebner explains that large parts of civil society have difficulty keeping up with the pace of cultural and societal change, as if the arc of the moral universe bends naturally towards the eradication of the female sports category. But she also permits benevolently that some people reading this book might not agree with trans-inclusive reforms. Do you think? I can't stop smiling because it's such a good article. You've got to go and read it. Agree with trans-inclusive reforms are delicately skirting the issue. Some folk may even question whether it is a good idea that children should change their gender. Skirting intensifies. And one can even debate under which circumstances trans women should be allowed to participate in sports competitions. Brackets, thanks, Julia. But what disagreements about trans-inclusive reforms could ever be made that would not be immediately labelled as transphobia? Get out of here. Even the mildest attempts to question the implications of this ideology is phobic, because the whole thing rests on polite but aggressively guarded lies. It's like when a politician says, less heat, more light in the trans debate. What sort of light has ever been considered anything other than heat? It's complete capitulation, or it's a hate crime, as many a public figure has learned the hard way. Ebner knows, deep in her shit-lib soul, Róisín, this is wonderful. Deep in her shit-nib soul, that the reader, a presumed normal person with normal IQ, is finding out about the reality of trans demands and is less than enthusiastic about it. But she also knows that we have been so intimidated by the constant propaganda that we've fully internalized the taboo around discussing it. This is so true. We've got to a situation where people won't discuss it because they feel they can't. I've got friends of mine who are like, yes, but I don't want to talk about that. It's depressing. They act like it's complete and absolute avoidance of having to say something declarative. That's what I think it is. I struggle with that mind with people. Because I'll say to him, it's bloody nonsense in it. And they go, well, I don't really like to talk about it. I don't want to upset people. I'm like, make a declarative statement. Say something declarative, you unbelievable fence-sitting idiot. I get angry with people. I'm sure other people do too. Warrior teachers certainly do. They tell me about it. That's why they become warrior teachers, so they can find a way to get past that, But it is frustrating. It's annoying that people think like that. So there's this one chapter in this book. So in the entire chapter is example after example of how common resistance to transgender coercion actually is on both sides of the political aisle and in every class and walk of life. Thus, gender-critical opinions are schizophrenically presented as extreme, but also commonplace, marginal but widespread, hateful but understandable. What her fingers will not allow her to type out is what this analysis implies. You can be critical of gender wang, but only an extremist would go around talking about it. And this is just this title. Occam's pervert. She recalls an incident of transphobia on the London Underground that she personally witnessed, in which a young guy in a pink dress gives a fellow commuter the heebie-jeebies. And we don't say that enough either. There's another one. What was it yesterday? Someone else I said we don't say enough of. But we'll go with heebie-jeebies today. Details are slim, but judging by the reaction of the commuter, the young man is unlikely to be just some guy with a funky dress style and is more likely to be one of the thousands of British boys who are now encouraged to bring their great, unscratchable, dopamine-depleting autogynephilic itch out of their pink gamer chair and into the light of their daily commute. I cannot tell you, folks, how much joy this article is giving me this morning, and I'm only a very small part into it, right? Okay? Some people have a highly evolved ick for spotting sexually transgressive behaviour in men, while others just detest how these people have coerced society into going along with their own internal fantasies. Whatever the case, his fellow commuter was clearly fed up with it all. Apropos, when the guy in the dress gets off the train after suffering some uncomfortable stares, Ebner overhears the commuter pass a comment to his companion about the scandal of males in women's prisons. He also scoffs at the HR pronoun practices that are being introduced at the workplace. What an effing bigot. Look, I'm going to leave you to go and have a look at the rest of it because it's a grand article. This is on, again, peaked.substack.com from Róisín. So please do go and have a look. It's an absolute joy to read. And it also made me giggle lots, which is great. Nice giggle in the morning. We all love that. I'll see you later. Ta-da!